Hi, and welcome back to the Macbeth Explained Annotate With Me series. In today's video, we'll be looking at Act 3, Scene 2. It's a fairly short scene, but it gives us a lot of information about Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, the state of their mental health at this moment in the play, and also their relationship. So this is the kind of scene, as you can tell from just the sheer amount of annotations I've made, this is the kind of scene that is likely to come up as an extract in the literature exams, just because it's such a rich scene. It gives us so much information. The language is really interesting. So as usual, if you'd like to pause the video now, go grab your copy of the text if you have one, pens, highlighters, anything that you might need, and press play once you're ready. As you can see, I have pre-annotated this document, and this is just to save time. If you would like to make the annotations as I speak about them, you are more than welcome to pause the video and copy down the annotations. If you would like my copy, so this annotated copy of the document, you can simply get in touch either through the comments or find us on our Facebook page. Just pop us a message and I can send you a copy of the document if that's helpful to you. Without further ado, I'm going to get started now. So, scene 2, the palace. So we're still at the royal palace. Enter Lady Macbeth and a servant. Lady Macbeth says, "Is Banquo gone from court?" So she's finding out that Banquo's gone out riding. The servant says, "Aye, madam, but returns again tonight." Lady Macbeth says, "Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words." So Lady Macbeth now has to go through the servant to see Macbeth because he's now king. So she's just asking the servant if she can go speak to the king. Servant says, "Madam, I will." Exit. Lady Macbeth. Here she's talking to herself, but she gives us an insight into exactly what she's thinking about and fearing right now. She says, "Naught's had, all is spent, where our desire is got without content." So naught's had, nothing's been had, nothing's been gained. All is spent, everything's been spent or wasted. Where our desire is got, where we got what we wanted, we got our desire without content. And content is like joy or happiness. So she's saying, well, we've basically wasted everything and gained nothing. If now that we got what we wanted, now that we're king and queen, we can't even be happy about it. So she feels like this murder that they committed is wasted if they can't even enjoy the power that they got. And here this shows us that she's very aware of what Macbeth is feeling right now. She's talking about his anxiety, his fear. She can tell that he's not enjoying being king, and she thinks it's a waste because it's cost them so much. She is aware of what they've done and how much is going to affect them. She's thinking, if we can't even enjoy the things that we got, then it was completely waste for nothing. It was for nothing. She says, "'Tis safer to be that which we destroy," and of course that which they destroyed is Duncan. "'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy." We might as well be Duncan. We might as well ourselves be the dead ones, the murdered ones, if what we have now is going to be destroyed by doubtful joy. Doubtful joy is their happiness is full of doubt, so they can't enjoy what they have because they're always doubting that they're going to lose it, that they're going to be accused of a crime or whatever. You know, she's referring to Macbeth's anxiety that he's feeling right now. Of course, she's not aware about the prophecies, Banquo's prophecies. Macbeth told her about the prophecies for him, but not for Banquo. So she might not realize that as far as Macbeth is concerned, he has fairly good reasons to feel the way he does. She just thinks it's a waste of what we have done if we're not even going to be happy now. Enter Macbeth, and now she's talking to him. She says, "How now, my lord?" So the exclamation mark here, we can tell that she's trying to put on this kind of almost cheerful tone. "How now, my lord? Like, how are things? Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on." She's saying, why do you spend all your time alone just imagining sad things? Yeah, fancies is just like you're imagining things. Sorry is of course pitiful or sad. So she's saying, why are you spending all your time with these sad thoughts? those thoughts which should have died with them they think on. Yeah, those thoughts that should have died with Duncan. Duncan is dead now. Thoughts of Duncan, guilt about Duncan should have died when he did. She always has this idea of like, what they've done has happened and it's in the past and needs to be left in the past. And we're going to see this in the next quote. She says, things without all remedy should be without regard. A remedy is like a remedy to an illness is going to cure that illness. So it's like a solution or a cure to a sickness. She's saying things that don't have remedy, things that don't have solutions, should be without regard. Shouldn't be. We shouldn't think about things that we can't fix. And she makes a great point here. Like, at the end of the day, they have killed Duncan. They're not going to take this back. They can't undo what they did. They can't ask for forgiveness. It's a problem that cannot be fixed. So she's saying, what's the point in thinking about it if there's literally nothing that we can do about it? And here, she could be showing us how she deals with her own guilt. Like, maybe this is her way of coping with, for herself. She thinks, well, something that's happened, I can't do anything about it, so I don't need to worry about it. But it also shows us that she is really trying to help Macbeth, and this whole scene is full of affectionate language, and you can really see that these are two characters that very much care for each other. She's not here to tell him off. She's here to try to kind of pull him out of his depression and try to get him to move on. She says, what's done is done. And here the quote is very simple, very obvious. What we have done, we have done. Yeah, we've killed Duncan. We can't take it back. But this is an important quote because it links really, really well with a quote that she will say later on, where she'll say something really similar, but also completely different. She'll say something like, what's done cannot be undone. Yeah, here she's saying what we have done, we have done. Later on, she's going to say something like, what we have done, we can't undo. And the implications will show us really how the way she thinks about the crime, her state of mind has changed, her perspective has changed. So at the moment, she's very much sort of about moving on, accepting what they have done. This will change later on, which is why this is an important quote to pick out. Macbeth responds to her and says, we have scorched the snake, not killed it. So here he's using a metaphor. He's not actually talking about a snake at all, and we're going to see this metaphor of snakes and serpents recur. And when he's talking about the snake, he's probably talking about Duncan, but he's also kind of talking about the danger that he's in. So he says, we scorched the snake, we burned or we harmed the snake, but we didn't kill it. And here he could be referring to Duncan. Yes, we've killed Duncan, but his sons aren't dead. So Malcolm and Donalbain are still going to be a danger or risk to Macbeth. But he could also be referring to Banquo. So we've scorched the snake, we've killed Duncan, but there's still danger there because Banquo's sons will inherit the throne. It's not really clear whether he's talking about Duncan's sons or Banquo's sons, but either way, he knows that he's not completely dealt with the problem. Yeah, he's saying he extends the metaphor, and in this metaphor, the snake is female. He's not talking about a woman, though. He's just talking about the metaphor. He says, we've scorched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. When you hurt a snake, the snake might curl up in on itself, and it might feel harmless, but it's still got teeth. It can still bite you. It can still poison you. So there's still danger there. But let the frame of things disjoined, both the worlds suffer, and we will eat our meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. And here he is revealing the fact that everything that's happened is causing all these fears that he has of this danger that's still lurking there. It's been causing him to have these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. He's having nightmares that are so bad that they're literally making him shake in his sleep. And here, this is, of course, the motif, the repeated image of sleep, insomnia, and nightmares. This is a motif that we've already seen a lot and will keep recurring throughout the text. And we find out that he's been having these horrible nightmares. Of course, this could be a way that he's almost fulfilling his own prophecy, because if you remember, after he killed Duncan, he talks about how he says, Macbeth has murdered sleep, Macbeth shall sleep no more. And of course, this is being fulfilled here because he's having such bad nightmares that it's shaking him from his sleep. But it could also link to the fact that we already know the witches are able to curse people with insomnia. So it could be a little bit of both. And it also definitely shows us his guilt that he's feeling as well. Then he says this, he says, better be with the dead, whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst. No steel, no poison, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further. What he's expressing here is jealousy. He's jealous of Duncan. He's saying it's almost better to be with the dead. It's almost better if we were dead ourselves, because the people that we've killed to gain our peace, they're the ones at peace. By killing Duncan, he's not gained peace of mind. He's not peacefully, happily king. In fact, it's Duncan. Yeah, Duncan is in his grave. He sleeps well. Yeah, this idea as well of sleep. Duncan now has the eternal sleep. He gets to rest. He doesn't have to worry. Nothing can touch him. Nothing can harm Duncan. Through his death, he's almost invincible. Yeah, he can't be attacked by a sword, by a dagger, by poison. He can't be attacked by an enemy, a traitor. He can't be attacked by a foreign sort of attacker. He's at peace. He's untouchable. And Macbeth envies this. So he's gone from regretting killing Duncan to envying Duncan, because through death, Duncan is at peace. He doesn't need to worry. He doesn't need to fear anything. And of course, we have again the motif of sleep. Yeah, this idea that Macbeth doesn't even view death as a bad thing. He sees it as at least it's restful. Is a really, really interesting here. Lady Macbeth says, come on, gentle my lord. Gentle my lord is just my gentle lord. So we see a lot of affectionate language in this scene. We see her call when she comes in, she says, how now, my lord? She says, gentle lord. He calls her my dear wife, dearest Chuck. So there's a lot of affectionate language going back and forth between them. It's showing us that at this point, their relationship is still quite strong. They are both, well, he is suffering and she's trying to help him, but they both have love and affection still towards each other. As the play goes on and they both sort of sink into their guilt and their madness, there's a sense that their relationship will start breaking apart, or almost as if they drift apart from each other. And it definitely makes things worse. But at this point, there's a sense that there's a lot of affection and love between them. This scene is just all about them trying to help each other. She says, come, my gentle lord, sleek over your rugged looks, be bright and jovial amongst your guests tonight. She's telling him, like, just sort out he looks rugged, so maybe his hair is a mess and he just looks like he's not been sleeping well. She's telling him, fix up your looks and try to appear bright and happy and cheerful at the feast tonight. So again, the importance of appearance. She knows he can't appear like this in front of all the guests because he's going to look bad, and appearance is really important in the text and to these characters. And we'll talk about appearance in a second as well. He says, so shall I, love, and so I pray be you. Yeah, that's fine. I'll fix my looks and I'll try to be cheerful at the feast, and you to try to also be cheerful at the feast. And he calls her love. So again, affectionate language between them. He says, let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence, both with eye and tongue, and save the while that we must lave our honours in these flattering streams, and make our faces visits to our hearts, disguising what they are. So he's saying, at the feast, let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence, both with eye and tongue. He's saying, at the feast, try to pay a lot of respect and attention to Banquo, both with your eyes and with your tongue. So in your speech and in your attention, present him with eminence, give him a lot of respect and attention. And save the while that we must lave our honours in these flattering streams. In the meantime, I'll be like receiving all the compliments and flattery of the guests. And he says, we must make our faces visits to our heart. Visit is a mask. So again, we have the motif of appearance. Yeah, here she's telling you must appear cheerful. And he says, yes, we must make our faces visits to our hearts. Our faces need to be masks for our hearts. Our appearance needs to disguise what we truly feel, what we truly are. And so when he talks about Banquo and we have to appear like we're, being really, really respectful and loving towards Banquo, but our faces must hide the truth of our hearts, Lady Macbeth says to him, You must leave this. So Lady Macbeth is reading between the lines. She remembers the advice that she gave him earlier on in the story, where she says to him, like, disguise your appearance, be look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it, where she's advising him, try to appear courteous and loving towards Duncan so we can kill him. Now he's giving her the same advice about Banquo. So she's not stupid. She knows exactly what he's trying to get at. She tells him, you must leave this. Like, don't stop. This isn't something that she wants to go through with. Leave this whole Banquo thing. Very straightforward. You must leave this. Like, stop thinking about this. This isn't a plan we should go through. And Macbeth says to her, oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. So again, we have this recurring affectionate language. We have the exclamation, oh, which is such an expression of emotion, a strong emotion, as if he's in a lot of pain or a lot of he's full of fear. And he tells her it's like his mind, it's like his head is full of scorpions. And of course, scorpions are dangerous. They sting you and they're highly venomous. So these thoughts that are swarming around his head are so toxic and so venomous. And the implication of poison or venom is pain. There's a sense here that Macbeth is trying to show Lady Macbeth that he's in pain, his fear and his anxiety, all these thoughts that are crammed in his head are tormenting him. He's in pain from all this. He tells her, you know that Banquo and Fleance live. Yeah, thou knowst, you know that Banquo and his Fleance live. Lady Macbeth says, but in them nature's copy is not etern. And etern here just means eternal. So she's saying, yes, but they're not eternal. They're not going to live forever. Like, you might be worried about them now, but they'll die eventually. They're not going to live forever. And Macbeth says, there's comfort yet. They are assailable. And he's kind of ignoring what she says. And he says, yes, the good thing is that they can be attacked. Yeah, assailable is something that can be attacked. He says, then be thou jocund. Jocund just means happy or cheerful. So be happy. And then he speaks in really mysterious language. And he says, before the bat has flown his cloistered flight. Before to black Hecate's summons, or Hecate's summons, the shard-born beetle with his drowsy hums hath rung night's yawning peal, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note. So he's using all this mysterious language, this semantic field of witchcraft and nighttime. He's saying before the bat has left the cloister where he sleeps, before Hecate, if you remember, Hecate is the goddess of witchcraft, before she's her summons have so before Black Hecate summons, the shard-born beetle, he's talking about beetles, with his drowsy hums hath rung night's yawning peal. The sound of the beetles will tell us that it's nighttime. So before nighttime, and he's using all this language to do with bats and beetles and witchcraft, so the semantic field of the supernatural, there shall be done a deed of dreadfulness. Something dreadful is going to be done. And again, we've got the word deed. Yeah, he never says murder or death or kill. There's always business and deed, things like that. Language that sort of takes away from the violence of what's being done. And Lady Macbeth is, this is very obscure and vague what he's saying. So she says, what's to be done? What do you have planned? And he says to her, be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck. So here, dearest Chuck is another term of endearment, my darling sweetheart. Again, showing the affection for the characters, but more importantly, he says to her, be innocent of the knowledge. So here, Macbeth is refusing to tell her what his plan is. But the implication isn't that he doesn't trust her or doesn't want her to know. The implication is that he wants her to remain innocent. This could be because he just doesn't want her to be implicated in the crime, right? You're less likely to go down for a crime that you're not actually aware of. He doesn't want to make her like an accomplice to what he's done. But also there's a sense that he wants her to remain innocent. He doesn't want her to suffer from the guilt of... He knows right now that he's suffering from this painful, horrible guilt for having killed Duncan. And it's almost like he wants to protect her from that guilt. If she doesn't know about Banquo, she doesn't have to worry about it. She doesn't have to suffer about it. And also she will be innocent in the eyes of God about it. So here, this quote really shows us that in the same way that Lady Macbeth has been trying to help and protect Macbeth. He's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to protect her from this knowledge, to maintain her innocence. Till thou applaud the deed, until the deed has been done and you can approve of it. It's better if you don't know about it. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand, cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. So here again, we've got the motif of darkness, and he's summoning darkness in the same way Lady Macbeth does earlier on in the text. He's asking for the night to come, to scarf up the tender eye of day, to hide the light and the eye of day. Again, this idea of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth needing darkness so they can hide their crimes. And with thy bloody and invisible hand, cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. He's summoning almost, or calling on to the death of Banquo. The cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. What keeps him pale is the fact that Banquo and his son are alive, and so he's summoning the night so that this gets torn to pieces, that Duncan and Banquo and Fleance are going to be killed, and he doesn't need to worry about it anymore. He wants night to hide this murder. Light thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. So here again, we've got language to do with crows and ravens, birds that are usually associated with death. Good things of day begin to droop and drowsy. It's like when night comes, things that are good in the light of day, go to sleep, while night's black agents to their praise do rouse. He's implying that bad things happen at night, that evil things get committed at night, which it so far has been the case. He says, thou marvelest at my word. You're marveling at my words. He can tell that she's wondering what on earth he's talking about. He says, but hold thee still. Just don't worry about it, and I keep you peaceful now. Don't worry about what I'm saying. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. Things that begun bad, things that start from evil through evil, become stronger through more evil. He's decided to almost like double down on his evil acts. He started by doing something bad, killing Duncan, and now he's going to do even more bad things to strengthen himself, to strengthen his position. He's going to keep being evil, and this time have Banquo and his son murdered. So prithee, go with me, but it's now time to go to the feast, and so he does it. So please come with me. Let's go. Let's not think about this anymore. He has made up his mind. There's a real sense of here determination. He's decided to double down. He did something evil, and if his only way of feeling stronger and more secure is doing something else even more evil, then he's going to do it. And that definitely is something that will keep happening. Macbeth will get more and more evil, as if it's the only way now to keep going. And he'll have a quote referring to that as well, which we'll get into when we read the next scenes. So that was Act 3, Scene 2, a really important scene. As you can tell, there's a lot of really interesting language, a lot of recurring themes and images and motifs from the text are in this. We've got the theme of appearance, we've got the motif of poison, snakes, nighttime, sleep, insomnia. We've got the themes of guilt, themes of murder, themes of betrayal, treason, even supernatural hints of sort of the start of madness. We've also got a lot about the relationship between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. So this is a scene that you could probably link to most key themes of the text, a really important scene. So I hope this was helpful. As usual, if you have any questions, it could be about this scene, this act, characters, themes, settings, anything at all, anything about the exam, the assessment, objectives, please do feel free to let me know in the comments. If you have suggestions for things that you wish that you would like us to cover, or things that you wish we did more of, please let us know in the comments. Same as usual, we read and respond to all the comments we can. And like I said before, if you'd like access to the annotations, simply get in touch and we'll do our best to help you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you all in the next video.